Ladies and gentlemen, staying in the G20 space, one important aspect. The G20 Culture Ministers meet in Varanasi culminated with a call to culture as a tool to tackle challenges and drive sustainable development. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while addressing the event, expressed confidence that efforts made by the G20 Culture Working Group will foster sustainable practices and lifestyles, furthering India's dual goal of development and heritage. Vikas bhi, virasat bhi. But why did the government choose Varanasi as the location for the summit? Well, India's choice of Varanasi to host the meeting was also deliberate, as the city is not just a treasure chest of knowledge, but the cultural and spiritual capital of Bharat. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has relied heavily on sustainability, and that is the core of India's civilizational heritage. He, at the most of the global forums, has highlighted that environment and economy are two sides of the same coin, and India has emerged as a major champion of sustainable development. From signing the Paris Accords to setting targets of reducing emissions by 2030, India is setting examples for other G20 nations to follow. Here's how. India stands as the world's third largest producer of renewable energy, with 42% of our installed capacity sourced from clean and sustainable options. And we've done it in record time, ladies and gentlemen. We actually want to become nearly 70 to 80% green by 2050. Very ambitious goals. The government's push for green hydrogen through the National Green Hydrogen Policy exemplifies the resolve to promote low-emission fuels. Increasing investments in renewing energy. Record $14.5 billion investment in financial year 2021-2022. And, of course, this entire aspect of Panchamrit, a five-fold strategy to fight climate change. Green growth outlay of rupees 35,000 crore for energy transformation and net zero emissions. Budget financial year 2023-2024. And also the RBI emerging as a sustainability champion, becoming a member of the network for greening of the financial system itself, and issuing vital frameworks and guidelines. India's first sovereign green bonds framework in 2022. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has consistently highlighted environmental stewardship, showcasing the age-old Indian form of environmentalism. And of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi adopted Varanasi as the constituency and pushed for sustainable development. Projects like the Namami Gange to clean the holy river and also sprucing up the ghats. The government even launched schemes like Adopt a Heritage and invited private players to maintain historic sites. From Kashi to Kashmir under the Modi government, several shrines have been redeveloped. Have a look at some of them. The Kashi Vishwanath corridor, redevelopment of the temple and the ghat has taken place. The Kalika Mata Mandir complex has been redeveloped and huge amounts of refurbishment has happened. Mahakal corridor, the Mahakal temple has been redeveloped. Kedarnath shrine, the entire temple complex has been restored post the floods. Ayodhya, Ram Mandir, the new Mandir is currently under construction, and the Pran Pratishtha first level completion should happen sometime soon after Sankranti, ahead of Republic Day. And under the NDA government, India has also tapped into thousands of years of cultural heritage as fuel for soft power, for a rising stature in the world. Prime Minister via culture has also pushed sustainable crafts. Indigenous local craft has been the cornerstone of India's diplomatic exchanges with world leaders. Now here's how Prime Minister promotes crafts in India. Joe Biden, the US President, was presented with a sandalwood box with the Dasadanyam or the 10 grains. Then Joko Widodo, Indonesia's president, was sprayed with lacquerware from Ram Darbar as the art piece, and it was all made out of lacquerware. And then Mario Draghi, Italy's prime minister, he got a marble inlay work tabletop. This was the gift that was given to him, and this comes from Agra. Alberto Fernandez, Argentina's president, was given Dokra art piece from Nandi from Chhattisgarh. So every state, every region being represented. At the BRICS summit, Cyril Ramaphosa, the South Africa president, was given the Bidri work, pair of surahis from Bidri in Karnataka, and that's where it is so famous. Chepo Motsepe, First Lady of SA, South Africa, that she also got a Naga shawl from, and Lula da Silva, Brazil president, got a Gond painting from Madhya Pradesh. And what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has done is, by leveraging the power of culture, India has urged G20 nations to create sustainable strategies that are not only effective but also culturally sensitive, ensuring higher rates of adoption and success. More importantly, it's working to revive our arts, culture, heritage and putting it back into the spotlight. Sonal Mansingh, Rajya Sabha MP and youngest recipient of the Padma Bhushan and the Padma Vibhushan is with us. And so is Dushyant Sridhar, Vedic speaker and writer. Namaste and Jai Hind. Such a pleasure to see both of you and to be able to speak with you. You've been a champion of culture and art for many decades, Sonal Mansingh ji, and Dushyant Sridhar, young now, but he's going and providing discourses and orienting people, telling people about the richness of our culture and our scriptures the world over. So, Sonal Mansingh ji, I'm going to ask you, culture, virasat bhi, vikas bhi, this message, how best can we use it? And are we using it well?
We have been using it, but now more and more emphasis is being put on it. People's attention is drawn to it. And the motto behind this, as I understand, is art for heart. Because all the talk about sustainable development and bringing cultures together, bringing people closer through culture, is all about hearts. And also about understanding and appreciating each other's heritage, because art and culture, the sustainable element there, the foundation of it is the heritage. And I think India is so lucky to have both tangible and intangible heritage. The plethora of monuments and temples and forts, and you have it all strewn all over India in every corner. The intangible heritage, even more precious, because that has sustained through millennia, even when the tangible heritage sites were destroyed. And intangible heritage is what develops the mind, brings quality to life, enrichment to one's life. The thought, the concepts, the beliefs, the practices, the festivals, the traditions, these are the founding stones, the foundations of any civilizational culture. And all the civilizations perished where the culture began to decay. We are so fortunate to have India, Bharat today, Samriddha Bharat. And this kind of development is very, very timely. I think it is needed in every direction of our cultural heritage, both tangible and intangible.
And reviving these cultural aspects which, like you said, Sonalji, which have thrived over millennia, the weaves and the patterns which are found in the excavations at Lothal and Rakhigarhi are still found at different parts of our country. So how is it over 150 generations, if not more, it's been passed down in the same format, same weaves? How is it possible? Bidri work is so many years old. Hundreds of years old, and it's still there. Dushyant Sridhar, and these mentions are there even in our scriptures. And somewhere, these systems were also central to our economic welfare. Dharmic capitalism as a concept was propounded by Kautilya.
Very true, Anand. Namaskaram to you and namaskaram to my fellow panelists and namaskaram to the viewers. As rightly pointed out by the Honorable Prime Minister, it is very important that as we make technological advancements, we had this wonderful launch of the soft landing of the Chandrayaan-3 on the moon. So we have had such great technological achievements, and I'm sure Indians are making big names in MNCs. At the same time, the progress, it should not at any point in time demean the contributions made to our humanities, to arts, architecture by our ancestors and by the artisans of the present. So, contribution to science and maths and appreciation of arts and architecture can happen at the same pace. And that's very important for a civilization such as India. Of course, today, the United States of America is huge in terms of the economy, the USD, the GDP and everything of that size. But it can't trace a history beyond 400 years from now.
Correct.
And here, any remote village, a priest who has not even had an exposure to any other country will, in a very cool manner, say that this temple is 2,500 years old. So the history that we have, the architecture that we have bequeathed, the art forms that we have, very rightly put, you did mention about the gifts that are being given, Anand. In the 13th century, I remember a very clear verse from Hamsa Sandesham where Vedanta Deshika states, Tadda Kulankamurtau Tanmanjira Pratima Ninade. The border of Sita's sari while she went to the forest had the motif of Hamsa. The patterns that you see of Rani Ki Vav of the 10th century, which is found on our 100 rupee note, is the patola. So all our designs, all our textiles, all our weaves, they are not that modern. They are very ancient. When you spoke about one of the gifts given of the Dhokra art, it is an art which survived even during the Indus Valley civilization time, Anand.
Correct.
We have the dancing idol where we were aware of metallurgy. And there is a place called Aranmula in Kerala where the mirrors are made, not with the material that we make mirrors now. They are polished off the metal. So it's a 2,500-year-old art. So I feel it is genuinely very, very right for the Honorable Prime Minister to have taken up Varanasi. I think in your opening note, you also mentioned about Kashi. So Kashi, the word Kashi is just not famous in Uttar Pradesh or Bihar. A marriage that is conducted in the southern tip of India, one of the rituals is called Kashi Yatra. And one of the sweets that we make for the functions is called Kashi Halwa. So Kashi, Tenkashi, Sevakashi. So this Kashi name is very popular across the country. And it was considered as the seat of learning. So anybody across the country would come. Anand, I need not have to say, we had travelers from China. Chinam Shukaihi. We had travelers from China. And we had travelers from the Central Asian countries traveling to India in the last 2000 years, still about the Vijayanagara Empire. So that speaks about the soft power that we have. And just to make a concluding point from my side, it is just not enough if we possess these. See, possession is not just important. It is about telling the world that we have this. So it's very, very important just to say that why should we make a show out of it? Why will people not know? Yes, there will be 5 or 10% of the world's population which will research by themselves and know about all of this. But there is a huge 90% of the population to which we need to make sure that, this is the civilization we have. This is the culture we have.
Absolutely.
You can feel it for yourself. So that's very important. And I feel the G20 is going to be a wonderful moment. It's a God-given opportunity for Bharata Desham to showcase what all it possesses.
Correct. Very, very well said and beautifully put there. Sonalji, in fact, Kashi is mentioned in the Rigved. So it's one of the oldest cities. So that's also the reason why it should be held there. The other aspect is it doesn't bring it to the spotlight for the world, but even locally. हमारे भारत में ही सब कुछ तो भूल गए हैं. धीरे-धीरे इसको फिर चेरिश करना शुरू करेंगे और other than occasions, every day it should become part of us, our culture, our heritage.
Indeed. The word Kashi means jhalakta hua, shining. And in dance, in Bharatanatyam and other allied forms, we wear Kasi Male. And it is the gold coins and shining. Kashi is supposed to be the oldest living city in the world. And it is said that there's a Gupta Kashi also, which is not known to common people like us, but where yogis and the saints, they preside. Kashi is supposed to be standing on the trident, Trishula, of Bhagwan Shiva Vishwanath. So Kashi has, and of course the Ganga Mai, the river Ganges, Gam Gachati Iti Ganga, the lifeline, the water, Jala, Jivan, that flows there. So the several, important points are there. What I wanted to bring you back to Anand is to the motives that we were talking about. The motives that were found in Mohenjo-daro, Harappa and the old Rakhi Garhi. And see, these motives have survived because they are not just designs. Each has a symbolism of its own. Fish is supposed to be a very auspicious sign even among the Zoroastrians, the Parsis. Fish, Kumbha, the Shikhara, which is the topmost point.
Yeah.
And here is the Shikhara also on top of our head,
Yes.
the Brahmarandra. Then there is Rudraksha, there is Hamsa, there is Yali, there is Simha, there is a parrot, Mayura. You name it, and all these motifs, the flowers, of course, the lotus among all. These are the living symbols of a life, ongoing life, which is the civilizational river of consciousness. And that is why they have survived in every part of India. It's not just in north and south. I've just come back from Guwahati yesterday after a performance for Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Beti Badhao. And that is also where we are teaching the young children, the young girls, how to decipher signs and symbols, and teaching them handicrafts, teaching them dance. See, let's not forget, of course, artisans are very, very important, but let's not forget the role of performing arts, because this is also ancient tradition, and that is why Shiva is called Nataraja. That is why Devi is called Nateshwari. And without the swara and laya, sura and tal, there is no life. Your breath itself is laya. Every sound is a swara. So these kind of philosophical concepts, when they are exhibited, they are shown and conveyed through various art forms, whether they are through artifacts or through performing arts. They all make a mark, and that is where I think, as Dushyantji said, and you have been saying, and we've all been reiterating again and again what Modi ji has been saying, that this is the time of India showing the path to the world, how beauty, Satyam Shivam Sundaram, this adage comes true, comes alive. That which is truth, is auspicious, is beautiful, and that should be conveyed to all. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is great. I think Satyam Shivam Sundaram is the next step.
Yes, and we're looking forward to that. What an amazing conversation, which I'd love to go on for, but paucity of time. To the lady and the gentleman, always a pleasure to speak with you and to have you on my show. Thank you for making the time. Namaskaram and Jai Hind. Thank you very much. We're going to